Queen Victoria and the Victorian Era. The Victorian era was a time of significant social, cultural, and technological development in Britain. It was named after Queen Victoria, who ruled from 1837 to 1901. Guys, there is a small reminder. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon so that you don't miss out on any newly uploaded videos. And hang on till the end of the video, so you don't miss any part of this interesting story. Let's examine the Victorian age and the specialties that existed at that point in time through this video. Queen Victoria became the monarch of Great Britain in 1837. Under her leadership, the British Empire expanded to its largest size, dominating 400 million people and a fifth of the planet's area. Britain saw significant transformation and prosperity throughout the Victorian era, which also marked the peak of the British Empire. Queen Victoria enjoyed immense popularity, and her reign was filled with significant achievements. The British Empire swiftly grew as Britain rose to prominence as the world's leading industrial power. Under Queen Victoria, the British Empire expanded to its greatest extent, and her reign was characterized by significant advancement and wealth. For 63 years, she reigned over Britain's social and industrial revolution as well as the empire's growth. Victoria resigned from public life after Albert's death in 1861, which left her inconsolable. She resumed her responsibilities in full between 1874 and 1882. After World War II, her influence played a role in establishing peace and security in Europe and the British Empire. So here we consider some of the main aspects of the Victorian era. Victorian society was based on hierarchy. While race, religion, locality, and occupation were all important components of identity and status, gender and class served as the major pillars of Victorian society. The doctrine of separate spheres served as the foundation for Victorian gender ideology. According to this, men and women were created for different purposes and have different needs. Women were physically weak compared to men. For women, reproduction was important, whereas sex was important for men. Women depended on males, whilst men were independent. Men were supposed to work for pay and be involved in politics, while women were supposed to manage homes and raise families. Income, family structure, job, education, politics, as well as leisure activities all fall under the economic and cultural category of class. Victorian-era religion and science. Christianity predominated among Victorian Britons. The state churches and dominant forces in religion were the Anglican churches in England, Wales, and Ireland. The Scottish Church was Presbyterian. There was some religious diversity because there were non-Anglican Protestants living in Britain as well, including Methodists, Roman Catholics, Jews, Muslims, and Hindus, among others. Victorians made scientific advancements and valued them with their religious beliefs. The theory of evolution is the most well-known Victorian scientific innovation. Although Charles Darwin is frequently given credit for it, earlier philosophers also contributed to its development, and the Victorian evolutionary theory was the nasty offshoot that gave rise to the pseudoscience of eugenics. The developing field of psychology and the science of energy also captivated Victorians. Victorian-era politics and administration. A constitutional monarchy served as the official form of government. In reality, aristocratic men held the majority of the power. The unwritten British Constitution is made up of both written laws and unwritten traditions. The monarch and the two houses of Parliament, the House of Lords and the House of Commons, made up the national government. Queen Victoria ruled throughout this time, followed by King George IV, King William IV, King Edward VII, and King George V. The House of Commons replaced the House of Lords as the seat of authority during the Victorian era, and the monarchy evolved into a national symbol. About 600 individuals, known as members of Parliament, were chosen to represent the counties and boroughs of England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland in the House of Commons. Due to its position as the earliest of these four equal nations, which is the result of tradition, as well as its stronger political strength and riches, England had a far higher number of representatives compared to the other three countries. Numerous hundred life-tenured noblemen made up the majority of the higher house, the House of Lords. Both houses were populated by affluent males. Two major parties controlled formal national politics, the Conservative Party and the Liberal Party. At the beginning of the period, the 500,000 men who owned property and were eligible to vote chose the MPs. The right to vote was extended to working-class men in 1867 and 1884, as well as to Catholic men in 1829 and the majority of middle-class men in 1832. In 1918, the majority of women over 30 received the right to vote. With the passage of the Second Representation of the People Act, adult voters were granted full suffrage without regard to their possessions. Although the story of the growth of the national electorate is significant, political engagement involves more than just casting a ballot at the federal level. Local politics played a significant role. There were many important political events occurred in this era. The economy of Victorian Britain. Britain's robust economy, which expanded quickly between 1820 and 1873, contributed to the country's standing as a major political force in the world. After this period of expansion, there was an economic crisis, which was followed between 1896 and 1914 by a small rebound. By around 1840, the early stages of industrialization were over, and the British economy was growing. In order for Britain to become the richest nation on earth, many individuals had to put in lengthy shifts in difficult circumstances. The majority of families not only had a place to live and enough food to eat, but they also had money left over for things like wine, tobacco, and even trips to the country or the beach. Even members of the working class were able to buy discretionary things thanks to increased affluence, especially real earnings that rose starting in the 1870s. These are some of the most interesting facts that were available in the Victorian era. That brings us to the end of the video. Thank you for being to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and tell us what you think about this video below in the comment section. Let's meet again with another interesting video.